'cause showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know. Now it's showtime.
A top Trump official has quit and proven to the world what we already knew. How are things going in Iran? Not so good. And allies are not helping. Why? I'll tell you. It is the Karel Show. I am Karel. Happy Tuesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Many of you know I love St. Patrick's Day. I do. I am not able to wear green because I have a green screen behind me, and if I wore a green shirt, I would simply be part of the background. So, not going to do that. But happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. I hope. I'm wearing green underwear. That's the cheat that everybody always says, right? When you go, I'm going to pinch you, you're not wearing green. Oh, I'm wearing green underwear. I don't know if they prove it. But so glad you are joining me on today's show. We've got a lot to talk about. A top Trump aide, counterterrorism specialist is out. And his leaving confirms everything that I knew and that we have said here on the show. Had a lovely lunch yesterday with my friends James and Amy from out of town. And Hal Sparks joined us. And he and I got to catch up. And he agreed to come on the show. So in the near future, we'll have Hal Sparks on the show to talk all things politics and AI and the world. I met his lovely son, Camden, yesterday, 14 years old, well-versed, well-spoken, vegetarian. Gave me hope for the world. So all of that's going on. So I have a segment I want to do on the show now called The Scroll. And it's basically stuff I found interesting while scrolling on social media. I did not have a chance to edit it today. So you're just going to get the raw scroll. But it goes to what I said yesterday about how everybody is just so willing to crash out now about everything. And this was within 30 seconds, okay? 30 seconds of my scroll. I found not one, but two people crashing out. One on an airplane, as I told you, people keep doing it, and one out in the streets who automatically got instant karma. So here's the scroll, and we'll talk about these two videos as soon as I play them. Here's number one.
I'm serious. I can't stand people say the seats. I can't.
Well, this one's not. If you want a corner, it's going to be there.
What you're seeing here is a man refusing to take a seat on Southwest Airlines because a woman is saving two seats for her niece and nephew who have not boarded yet. And he said that on Southwest you can't save seats. So instead of just finding another seat, there's plenty of other seats. He's stopping to take a seat.
Your policy says no saving seats.
It's open seating.
I understand, but this is principle to me. I hate when people do this. I hate it.
They were here and we said that.
Yeah, this is a principle. I totally understand. I see people do this stuff all the time on this flight. I fly all the time with Southwest. I can't see it.
If you sit in Canada, I'm going to knock it the whole way.
These aren't emotional principles.
I'm knocking it the whole way.
I'm just praying you don't sit down
I
there.
understand. I just don't like this with this. Am I the one causing
Yeah.
I don't want that seat. I don't like people saving seats. It's just that simple. Yeah, I know, and she's not supposed to save that seat. She just said the same thing at the front. She's not supposed to save that seat. Ma'am, did you say you're not supposed to save seats? Correct what you're not supposed to. So if I want to sit in that seat.
Well, then we'll just wait.
Okay.
But if I don't ma'am,
You're not sitting in that seat. You could. I'll take that seat.
Can we just don't say yes? We'll let it be. The supervisor's on the way.
Can we just keep boarding? Maybe
Yeah, right. If you want to just stand out of the way, then we can.
But if she's not going to have one, we'll take that seat.
No, we'll leave that open. Sometimes she looks nice. Maybe that little bullet.
You go, buddy.
Oh, wait, we're going to keep boarding and then we're going to board.
He would rather let all these people pass him instead of just going to find a seat. because he's somehow been appointed the seat police on Southwest Airlines, and he has determined that this woman saving a seat for her niece and nephew is just the line he is not willing to cross, and he is just standing here waiting for a supervisor so he can take a seat next to a woman who doesn't want it. Can you imagine him wanting to take that seat now? The woman's going to hate him.
You have to see this.
Where are my missing teeth?
And he's still standing there.
You're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
All right, we are back. Can you imagine that last video? Can you imagine? You know, just standing there and waiting and waiting. I had to cut the video because it just takes too long. He just stands there and stands there and stands there, and he just insists that a supervisor come. And what is his big problem? His big problem is that a woman is saving a seat for her niece and nephew who, you know, were not able to board at the same time that she was. And so what does he need to do? He, according to, you know, his, I don't know, the hill that he wants to die on, he has to create this scene for everybody, you know, for everybody to have to endure. And that is just, I can't even, you know, it's wrong on so many levels. Just so many levels. And the second video on the scroll today shows you how the real face of MAGA. You know, they always try to say, oh, you know, MAGA isn't racist, MAGA isn't violent, MAGA, you know, that, and we all know that that's bullcrap. Look at this guy. There was a peaceful protest going on against Donald Trump. And, you know, there were people there protesting his stance on gays and trans and on women and on ICE. So what does this guy choose to do? Watch.
Let's go, ICE! God bless Trump! 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 God bless Trump!
Every time I ride by, I know you wonder why I'm so cool. Don't ask me, just do what you do. Meet me in the trail, it's going down. Meet me in the mall, it's going down. Meet me in the club, it's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the trail, it's going down. Meet me in the mall, it's going down. Meet me in the club, it's going down. Anywhere you meet me, guaranteed to go down.
So he chooses to start chanting, "Let's go ICE, long live Trump." Then he calls someone an effing FAG, and then decides he's going to get violent and he's going to go chase and hit somebody. Nature stepped in and he face planted. And then someone else trips him and he falls again. And yet, one of the protesters helps him up. And if that doesn't exemplify right there who MAGA is and who the other side is, I don't know what does. You know, they're homophobes from the get-go. Any MAGA that tells you they're not a homophobe is a fucking liar, okay? They're transphobes and they're homophobes. And I'm concerned today that Matthew McConaughey is, because I saw another video on the scroll where he was on The View and he was asked, do you think you can be elected in Texas and not be anti-gay? And he wouldn't answer the question. That's really going to hurt my heart if Matthew McConaughey is anti-gay. It really is. But that's who these people are. And they have no morals, they have no values, they have no principles. They still support a man who has betrayed them on every level. This morning, Donald Trump's, one of his national security people, Joe Kent, resigned, one of his counterterrorism specialists. And he resigned because he said there was no imminent threat to the United States from Iran, and that the only reason we attacked Iran was to appease Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, what have I been saying for 3 weeks? Okay? I knew this, you knew this because I told you this, and now we have it confirmed from a high-ranking Trump counterterrorism official who has left his position because he cannot support the war in Iran. And speaking of not supporting, Donald Trump wants the world to take over the Strait of Hormuz. And he has reached out to our NATO allies, and they have all told him to go pound salt. They're like, nope, we're not helping you. You started this war. And, yesterday I was talking with Hal about this, Hal Sparks, at lunch. And Hal was like, it's going to take us a year to get out of this. It's going to be another never-ending war. And I'm like, isn't that what his base, rallied against? Didn't they want America first? No never-ending Middle Eastern wars? And then he serves one up on a platter. I could show you a photo. I don't know about gas in your area. I don't know how much gas is in your area. Las Vegas, we tend to stay not as much as California, but not as cheap as the rest of the nation. Okay, we're somewhere in between. Okay, we're not as cheap as California, but we're not as pricey, or we're not as cheap as, say, I've heard Florida can be very affordable, and Texas. Sometimes I think Texas has affordable gas as well, and a few other states. Why is everything turning sideways? I wanted to show you this picture. It's sideways. Sorry about that. But you can see even sideways that at the 7-Eleven where there's cheap gas, it's $4.69 for regular, $5.19 for diesel. And that was just yesterday afternoon. That was just taken. So here in Vegas, gas is now about $4.70, almost $5 a gallon at some gas stations. It was $3.40 before the war. So it's gone up $1.60 a gallon, $16 for 10 gallons, $32. It's gone up $32 for 20 gallons of gas, which most tanks are. Okay? It's gone up $16 for 10 gallons, $24 on 15 gallons. So if you have a 15-gallon tank, your fill-up is now $24 more. If you fill up once a week, that's $96 more a month in gas that you didn't ask for a war that you don't condone, for a war we didn't need, and a war we're losing. We're losing the war. We have a one-legged dictator back in power there that's to the right of his father. And what is Trump doing now? Talking about taking over Cuba. Now, Cuba is in an island-wide blackout. I feel very badly for what's going on in Cuba, but you need to know that we're causing it. We're causing what's going on in Cuba. Oil restrictions are stopping their energy production. Meanwhile, Trump is easing Russian oil restrictions on India and other countries, giving money to Russia to fight Ukraine, while Ukraine's leader today is meeting with Kerry Starmer about selling anti-drone technology to the rest of the world that they use against Russia. Make this make sense. Okay? Make this make sense. The world is going to Zelensky to ask him how to fight in Iran. And meanwhile, that same war in Iran is allowing money to flow to Russia to fight Zelensky. Can someone please make that make sense? Because I can't. And so here we have this just ridiculous world gone mad. And meanwhile, as I showed you on social media, in our country, people are crashing out for all kinds of various reasons. A man thought it was okay to hold up everybody's day on a Southwest Airlines because he didn't want this woman saving seats. What a petty asshole. Just a petty, ignorant asshole. And then on top of that, we have this other guy calling someone an FAG, saying, let's go ICE, long God bless Trump. The country has a terminal case of stupid. That's the biggest problem with America. We have a terminal case of stupid, and it's killing us. First of all, 80 million people support a wannabe dictator who doesn't care about them, their lives, their economy, nothing. He cares nothing about them, and yet they support him. Second, he's a child rapist, allegedly. Allegedly, he rapes children. It is in the Epstein files an accusation that he rapes children. And there are many other allegations against him in the Epstein files. The rest of the world arresting their pedophiles. The United States, not. And by the way, since that girl was 13 years old and probably not through puberty yet, he is a pedophile. You know, if you sleep with a 15, 16, 17-year-old, you're just a statutory rapist. You try to sleep with a 13-year-old. And a designer came forward today. I saw this on my scroll. I should have recorded it for you. A designer came forth today, and he quit Epstein's Island. And the reason he quit was Epstein wanted bunk bed rooms with pink walls. And this designer knew that that could not be for grown women, that this was for children. And he wanted several of these rooms with bunk beds, pink walls, and then a computer room with little girly games. And the designer knew just knew what this was for, and he left the job. He said, nope, not going to do it. So the reporter from CNN, while they still have them, asked, do you think someone just casually visiting the island would know? And the designer said, well, they could choose to be blind, but other than being blind, yeah, you had to know what these rooms were for. They were for young girls. Young, 12, 13, 14. That's who these rich white men were screwing, Laura Ingraham. That's who. Not 16, 17, 18-year-olds. They were screwing 12 and 13 and 14-year-old girls. And that includes, in the allegations, Donald Trump. What does MAGA say? Didn't happen, been discredited, he was working for the FBI. They're so quick because they have a terminal case of stupid. Everywhere you look now is terminal TS. They all have, they want to say that we have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Well, they have TS, terminal stupidity. That is the new term that I'm going to phrase for what MAGA has. They have terminal stupidity. Their stupidity is so vast and so limitless that it's terminal. They have terminal stupidity. And they are spreading it like a fungus. People be crashing out on social media over someone saving a seat. And now on Southwest, that's gone because now they assign seats. I bet he's happy now. Now he gets assigned a crappy seat. Oh, and they're letting people, they're assigning 2 seats to one passenger in case one doesn't show up, and it's causing horror. And people who have checked in for the flight late are getting to the gate if they didn't choose a seat, and they're finding that they have to repurchase a seat and get charged double. Southwest, you're killing your airline. You're killing it. You're killing it. You had a good thing going, and you're killing it. Your bottom line is going to suck come the end of the year. So we have MAGA with terminal stupidity. They're just too stupid. And we have people crashing out on social media. We got gas hovering at $5 a gallon. I spoke to my friend at Down to Earth Restaurant yesterday, Chef Parker, and he was saying his costs are soaring and that he doesn't know what to do because he can't raise menu prices higher than they are now. They're at their max. I made the mistake because I'm fat. This is why I'm chubby. This is why I'm chubby, baby. I made the mistake of buying a mini coconut pie because he makes them there. It was $9.99 for a mini, not a big pie, A mini pot, mini coconut, $9.99. So all that fat and cholesterol cost me $10. And I thought to myself, $9.99 for a mini pie. I won't be buying one of those again. As it was, my lunch, I had lunch with friends, which is why I went, but my lunch was $40. What did I buy? I bought a oyster mushroom poor boy. It's a poor boy made with oyster mushrooms, a half order of truffle mac and cheese, and a beverage. And with tip, that was $37. And he's like, I can't go up any more on my prices. People are not going to eat. And yet I've got, oyster mushrooms have tripled in price. And, all of my staples in my kitchen have gone up 20, 30, 40% because of fuel prices. And he can't charge more, so he doesn't know what he's going to do. This is Trump's America. Can't blame Biden. MAGA can't blame liberals. This is the world they have created. And a war that they wanted. Sad. Sad, sad, sad.
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
I'm greeting the chat room at youtube.com/Really Karel. youtube.com/Really Karel. Let's see. The ticket purchase grants you entitlement and a voice like at athletic events where you engage the players. I don't understand that comment because when you buy a ticket on Southwest, it doesn't entitle you to anything but a seat and a carry-on. That's all it entitles you to. A seat and a carry-on. It doesn't entitle you. If the flight attendant was not upset with the woman saving seats for her niece and nephew, why would anybody else be upset about that? She has family members flying with her. They're underage. She wants them to sit next to her on a plane. Why would anybody be angry about her saving those seats? Only an a-hole would be angry about that. And he was an a-hole, and he was angry. Well, the policy says she can't save seats, so it really bothers me. So because it bothers me, I'm going to take away her right. It's just the United States. The A in USA that stands for the United States of assholes now. That's really what we're starting to stand for. Our president's a giant one, launching wars that we didn't need to launch. One of the heads of counterterrorism just quit because this guy is friends with Tucker Carlson. He is not a screaming liberal, this Joe Kent. He is a conservative. And he quit because he said, look, they posed no threat to us. We are doing this because of Israel. Well, for once, I agree with a conservative. They were no threat to us. And now we've created a bigger, badder. Look, Iran has been around how long? How long as a country has Iran been around? How long has Iran been a country? Let's see the answer to that.
The answer I found is 2,577 years.
Iran has been a country for 2,577 years. We're about to be 250. Okay? Iran has 2,250 years and change up on us. So we are naive to think we're going to get rid of Iran. It has been there for 2.6 thousand years. We've only been a country for 250. So Iran's playing a long game, and it's one they're going to win. And they're going to win it because they don't care. They will sacrifice, the supreme leader will sacrifice every single person in his country before he gives in to the West. That's how they've lasted 2.6 thousand years, that defiance. And so the notion that we needed this war is ridiculous. Netanyahu needed this war. That's why we're fighting it. $1 billion a day to appease Israel while we suffer economically in this country. And that's okay with MAGA. That's fine with them. So I'm not really sure, what we're going to do about that, because Congress won't stop him. Congress refuses to do their job. There are Democrats that voted against the War Powers Act in stopping him. Today in the Senate, they're trying to get this SAVE bill through where you would have to have a birth certificate or a passport, and you're going to have to re-register to vote. This is how they're... Look, there's a huge editorial in the Hill. The Hill, a conservative newspaper that says if you're worried about the midterms, you should be. He's going to try and win at any cost, which means cheating. Do you know why they're now against voting machines? It's in the SAVE Act. Do you know why they're against them? Because they hacked them. Because they know they can be hacked to give somebody an edge. Because they did it. And now that Trump won, they want the voting machines gone. Because Elon Musk hacked the voting machines for him. Prove me wrong. Prove that Elon Musk didn't do that. Because Donald Trump thanked him publicly for doing it. I can play you the audio of Trump thanking Elon Musk and his command of the voting machines for the win. And now that they have, they want the voting machines gone. Why? Because they know they can be compromised. They want you to have a birth certificate or a passport to vote. Why? Because they know half of America doesn't. Sad part is, most of that half is MAGA. MAGA does not have their birth certificate. Well, they might because of social services. But, for the most part, MAGA don't have passports. And MAGA certainly don't have their birth certificate lying around. But they want to remove everybody from the voter rolls and make you go back and register with your birth certificate. And the Senate today might pass this bill. The House didn't. But the Senate might. Then it will go back to the House. Hopefully it will be defeated. And they couldn't just attack voting in this bill. No, we have Christine Leavitt, who should rot in hell, out there besmirching and demeaning trans people, saying they want to ban all gender-affirming care for anyone under 18. They're evil people. And they want to make it a law in Congress that trans athletes can't compete in the sport of their gender. This is how petty, angry, mean-spirited, homophobic, and anti-trans and gay these people are. They have TS, terminal stupidity. Carolyn Leavitt is possibly one of the most ignorant women to ever draw oxygen. I believe all the peroxide used on her head has sucked out every bit of sense she's got. Okay? I believe when they put all that bleach in her hair, it just sucks out the intelligence from her brain. Because she is the stupidest White House press secretary we have ever had. And the most racist, homophobic, classist, anti-woman, Trump Kool-Aid drinking sycophant to ever exist. And she should keep her filthy mouth shut about trans issues and gay issues, two things she knows nothing about. So I hope she goes eat a large pile of Richard, if you know what I mean. All right, we're back in a moment. Check in with the chat room at youtube.com/Billy Karel. Don't go anywhere at all. Stay right here with me.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy.
This is why I'm chubby. This is why I'm chubby, baby. Eating coconut pie yesterday. Now, the mini pie is the size of one slice of coconut pie. It's like I ate a whole pie. But that's why I'm fat. And I've got to not be fat. My cholesterol, nope, I can't do this. I had a talk with myself last night. I have basically trained my brain out of medical anxiety. Really. I got so fed up with it that I said, you're not allowing it. The minute your brain starts down that path, you're stopping. And I've willfully and forcefully suppressed the medical anxiety. It is working. I need to do the same for food. I don't want to go on Ozempic or Zepbound. I want to lose 30 pounds the right way. And that's by not putting pie in my pie hole. And by counting calories. I supplement. I do a lot of supplements, and I waver on them, whether I do a lot or a little. But one of the things I do is I drink a drink every day, and it is psyllium husk, and then it's protein powder, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed to get rid of LDL cholesterol and some omega-3s, and then I put hemp and chia seeds as well, and creatine. Well, I've been going through and sort of honing in on what I need and what I don't need. Using ChatGPT and other resources. And my drink is going to be scaled down to just fiber, no protein powder, because I'm getting protein other places. Flax seeds, but no hemp and chia seeds, because they're just redundant and more calories. 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds has 70 calories. That's a lot. And so I'm cutting that back. So it'll go from about 280 calories to about 120. That's good. Cutting that back. I'm still getting what I need, and I'm taking an algae oil supplement for my omega-3s and DHA and all that. So I do supplement. I take a lot. And I know I don't need to take a lot, but I just do for fun. I take a multivitamin. I also take magnesium, calcium. I take choline, which is for your nervous system. It comes from meat, basically. I take creatine. I take vitamin B complex. I take garlic oil. I take, what else do I take? I take a lot. I take a lot of supplements. Iodine. I take, and a lot of those are because I'm vegan. I take the iodine because I'm vegan, the choline because I'm vegan, the creatine because I'm vegan. And then the others I just take for fun. The magnesium, the calcium, the zinc. I take lower doses. I don't take these max blast doses. I take ones that are like 20% of your daily or 30% of your daily or up 50% of your daily. And then, because I eat good food, so I get a lot of vitamins from food. I eat 5 servings of fruit a day, which is a lot. It's basically between 3 and 5 cups of fruit a day. That's an apple, a banana, a kiwi, a couple tangerine, or mandarin oranges. But I still supplement. And, supplementation, if it's something that's very personal. You have to either want to do it or not. And there's no right or wrong. Now, there are certain things that as you age, you will benefit from, and a daily multivitamin is one. Okay? The jury's in on that. A daily multivitamin does not hurt you. The other stuff that I take, the choline and the magnesium and the zinc and the calcium and the garlic oil, all of that, that's all just kind of window dressing if you want to do it. Sometimes I don't do anything but my daily vitamin. Other times I have like 8 other things that I do. Just really depends. And as a vegan, they do sell vitamins for vegans that have the iodine, vitamin D, calcium, and one other thing that we tend to be lower on. But if you eat a balanced diet like I do anyway, you're going to get most of that stuff. As for protein, you can get enough from the food. I don't need to supplement protein. I take 1 scoop and put it in my oatmeal. in the soy milk for my oatmeal. But that's just a little protein boost in the morning because I'm going to exercise. So, I don't know. Where are you all on supplements? Do y'all supplement? I do the Daily Vitamin Plus more than a few others. I don't need to. It's like, I don't, well, the algae oil I do. I have to take the algae oil because I don't eat fish. And I have to take
If you're
a
not
few
visiting reallykarel.com daily, you're missing out. Get the podcast, videos, and the blog, including recipes at reallykarel.com. That's really KAREL.com.
Showtime is here, no time to fear. Karel is so near because showtime is here. So on with the show, let's give it a go. Karel is the one that you need to know.
Yeah, it is a big deal, the medical anxiety and the way that I've quashed it. I'm not saying it doesn't try to rear its head. But for instance with Ember, because it transfers from me to Ember, her right back leg, when she runs, she's tapping it now. She's not fully putting weight on it. She's tapping it. But she's jumping up on furniture. She still plays ball 20 minutes a day. She's still running in the park all the way across to see her friends. So I think it's her knee. She has luxating patellas. So I think she's just safeguarding her leg. I have not rushed her for x-rays and physical therapy and red light therapy and, oh my God, she's going to lose her legs and, I haven't done that. I had a pain in my groin area where I had a hernia surgery years ago. And it was there for 10 days. And I thought, you know what? It's from all the yoga you do. There's a muscle in there that's not liking you. And for 10 days, I had this pain. And I thought, well, maybe you should go get ultrasounded, maybe. And I resisted. Guess what? Pain's gone. So I didn't need to go get ultrasounded. I didn't need a CAT scan, which I would have rushed for before. I would have gone to urgent care. Oh, I've got a pain in my groin where I had my hernia, and I think I've burst through my hernia, and blah, blah, blah. Nope. I waited about 10 days. It went away. So conquering something in your brain can be achieved. You have to put your mind to it. You can't half-ass it. You have got to say, no, I am not letting this run my life anymore. No. And that's what I'm going to be doing with weight. I had a talk with myself last night. Stop talking about it. I think I like the guilt. I think I like making myself feel bad. Because I know at 8:30 at night when I start to bake chocolate chip cookies that it's bad. Even though I cut out the oil, I use either dates or applesauce. You can take 3 dates and a quarter cup of water, hot water, and put it in a blender, and that will make an oil substitute. And I cut back on the sugar. I use half the sugar it says to use. But that it's still got sugar, and there's still fat in the chocolate. And, so I know that it's bad. And then I do it. Oh, well, I'll just eat the cookies every morning with my hot cocoa. Yeah, and then I have one in the afternoon, and then I have one at 8:30 at night, and suddenly a dozen cookies over 2 days is gone. That ain't good. So I know beforehand, just like you do. You know beforehand if you should or should not be eating what you're eating, or if you should eat the amount that you're about to eat, you know beforehand. I think a lot of us just like the guilt. We just, I'll worry about it tomorrow, or it's not going to kill me tonight, or blah, 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 blah. Or I deserve it. That's the other thing. My sister today got a feeding tube put in. I've been on the phone since 6 a.m. She's scared. She's crying because of her mental state. And, I had to calm her down. My niece is there, Infinity. And the feeding tube is in. She's in recovery. It went well. And that's the last step before rehab, before she gets to rehab. We hope. Because I think rehab is where she'll actually start to show improvement. And there are times where I'll be at home and I'll know that I shouldn't have whatever I'm about to eat. Like if I have leftovers from lunch, I shouldn't have them for dinner. I made vegetable soup, and that's what I want to have for dinner every night. It's low calorie and tasty and filling. lots of cabbage and carrots and, all kinds of veggies. And some garbanzo beans and that's it. Garbanzo beans and fruit. I'm sorry, and vegetables. And that and a cup of fruit for dinner. That's all I want for dinner. So last night when I went for dinner and I got my cup of soup and my fruit, but then I decided to have a bean burger, a black bean burger on a pretzel bun. It was so good. Oh my God, it was good with pesto sauce. Oh God, it was good. But it was also like 500 calories just for the burger and the bun. I knew that was wrong. I had reached my calorie limit, and yet I had it. Because I said, well, you're depressed. Your sister's in the hospital. Blah, 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 blah. You deserve this. You could die tomorrow. I will die tomorrow if I keep eating all this bad food. So, and this equates out to politics and to Trump and to our mood. We can either be defeated by this, because look, every day there's a reason to quit and leave America. Every day. Every day. In Las Vegas, I just read that it's, quote, a buyer's market, which means there's more properties out there than are selling, and buyers are having to reduce their prices. That's bad for me. It's bad. That's depressing. It's going to be 100 this week. California is going to set the national record all time throughout the history of temperature keeping. It's going to be 111 in thermal California in Death Valley. I live 2 hours from there, which means I live on the outskirts of hell. So it's going to be 100 here this week. The hottest it has ever been in March. And everyone is acting like that's okay. There is a blizzard on the East Coast and record-breaking heat on the West, and everybody's just going on their lives like global warming isn't about to kill us all. If it's going to be 100 in March, what the fuck is it going to do in June, July, August? I'm scared about what's coming up for summer. And it makes me not want to be here. I want to leave Vegas. I'm tired of the heat. I'm sick of it. If I had the resources, I would move. I would. I swear to you, I would. And the resource would be selling this house. How can I do that when the market is so sucky? So we're all facing this climate in this country, and no one's addressing it. The president's not. There are horrific storms in the Midwest killing people, blizzards on the East Coast, record break. People will die on the West Coast because of the heat. And what's the president doing? Spending $1 billion a day at war with Iran, driving up energy prices when we need our air conditioners. We're going to need energy. And yet he's driving up energy cost. So there will be people that don't turn on their air conditioners because of energy cost, and they will die. And that's okay with him. He's fine with that. So we have to get into our mindset of either we're going to let this defeat us or not. We're going to be stronger. So that's what I'm doing with my medical anxiety and now my weight. Starting last night, I was like, you know what? You've OD'd on food. The coconut cream pie pushed you over the edge. Here I had deep fried oyster mushrooms, even though I only had half the sandwich. Me and Amy swapped sandwich halves. She had half of mine, I had half of hers. It's a tomato, avocado, alfalfa sprouts, pesto sauce. It's delicious on wheat bread. So I had half of hers, she had half of mine. And then we ate the mac and cheese like it was. I would have stabbed someone if they tried to touch my mac and cheese. I was like, get back. So mac and cheese, even though it's vegan, it is still not a health food, followed by cream pie. I'm like, you want to die. You might as well just lay down and have a heart attack right now. Hook the pads up right now because obviously you want to be in the ER. Because I'm 63. I will be 64 in November. Ember will be 11. I'll be 64. I've got to start. I'm not on a statin. If my LDL is high one more time, they will put me on a statin. There's no need to be on a statin. Some people have genetic problems, but my cholesterol is always in normal range because I am vegan. So that means I am eating too much fat, which comes directly from desserts. So my brain, I have to tell my brain, no, enough. And that's what we have to do with all this Trump noise. No, enough. I'm not, this morning when people wanted me to read this article about Joe Kent, resigning and him saying that it was all about Israel. I didn't read the article. I knew what it said. Just because MAGA members, like this guy that worked for Trump, are starting to see the light, I've seen that light for a long time, and I don't need to read the instruction manual over and over. I know where this is headed, and I know what the cause is. When we started the war with Iran, I had no doubt it was because of Israel. From the moment the first bomb flew, I said, well, Netanyahu's getting what he wanted. He has wanted us to do this for decades. But no American president would give in to him. Well, he found a patsy. And so I didn't need to read all about Joe Kent's come to Jesus moment. He should have had it a while ago. But, better late than never, I guess. So I'm turning the guy off, and I'm turning MAGA off. They are crashing out. They're calling people, FAG. They're just throwing hatred at the trans community. I'm done with them. As far as I'm concerned, whatever fate befalls them, befalls them. If they starve, starve. If they fall into abject poverty, fall into abject poverty. I'm done. I had a conversation with a police officer this morning, and I asked her if what I did 2 days ago was legal. And she said, what did you do? And I said, I went up and down the street where I live, and all abandoned property, things that had no one by it, no one there, suitcases, whatever it was, if they were just sitting there on the, on our property, or even just on the curb or on the sidewalk, if it was abandoned and nobody was around, I threw it away. I threw away like 6 suitcases, several duffel bags, just threw them away into a dumpster. She said, was anyone around? I said, no. I called, I yelled every time, I screamed, is this yours? Is this anybody's? And no one. She goes, then it was abandoned property. You didn't break the law. She goes, and good for you for cleaning up the street. And she goes, you must have reached your limit. I said, I have. My empathy for the homeless has run out. I have no more empathy for them. I feel badly that it's a failure of government. I feel badly that the powers that be here in Nevada will not allocate the millions of dollars that we pay for the homeless. We spend hundreds of millions on homeless programs here in Nevada every year, and they're not working. And so I feel badly that government is failing them, but they've got to stop making their homelessness my problem. I know that sounds terrible, but don't sleep on my property. Don't put your crap all around my building. I'm not saying you can't be homeless, and I'm not saying, that when I say my empathy, God knows I've fed plenty, I have assisted plenty, I help them with phone calls, with whatever. But as far as all of their stuff being everywhere, I'm done with it. Pick up your hoard, stop being a mess. Because everybody has a responsibility, and everybody is shirking it. When you get on a plane, you have a responsibility. Don't be an asshole. That's your sole responsibility. Find your seat, sit the frack down, buckle up, and that's that. Don't get on if you're sick, and don't cause problems for other passengers. That's your responsibility. And people are sadly failing. When you're out in public, and you see someone protesting under their First Amendment right, and you don't agree with them, okay, you want to organize a counter protest, that's fine. You want to do it, that's fine. But calling them FAG, chasing them down and trying to hit them, no. Everybody is just forgetting that they have a responsibility to act human, to act right. And that's because the president does not act human. The president does not act right. The president does not stay within social norms. And so they feel they don't have to. If my president can run around saying I should grab women by the pussycat, why can't I say it? Why can't I do it? If my president can, be accused of raping a 13-year-old girl, why can't I go do it? This is the country we are becoming. TS, terminal stupidity. The United States of a-holes. That's what we are becoming. And it's filtering down from the top. From Washington. We are the United States of a-holes. That's what we are now. And they're proud. They're so proud to be so stupid. I mean, they revel in their stupidity. For instance, when we come back,
Patreon is the way to show you care. Subscribe today if you dare. Keep the show on there. Patreon is the way. Now it's showtime.
so I'll close with this because it really just shows how we're the U.S. of a-holes now. Barbra Streisand at 83 came out and paid tribute to Robert Redford in what most people have said was a very touching tribute. And she burst into The Way We Were, tears streaming down her face. I don't know if you've ever tried to sing when you cry. It's not easy. Tears streaming down her face. And all social media could do, and now there's many stories out about how she should never sing in public again. Her voice isn't what it used to be. She's heartbroken and shattered in her Malibu mansion about her voice and blah, 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 blah. I will tell you right now, 83 years old and in tears, she sounded better than most female pop stars today. Okay? But people just have to say something. They just have to be negative because we have terminal stupidity. They can't just say it was touching because it was. Oh, no. Oh, she's so old. Sounded like two cats screeching. And these are people that can't sing a fucking note. And yet they're going to criticize Barbra Streisand at 83 for belting out The Way We Were better than most people can today. That's who we've become now. It's not who you are. It's not who I am. But it's who a majority of America has become. They're entitled. They feel they're entitled to criticize everything and everybody. They think because they have a keyboard, it makes them an expert on all. And so they can just criticize. They think if they buy a ticket on an airline for 12 cents, on Spirit or Frontiers or even Southwest, that they are entitled to create a stir. They are entitled to tell flight attendants their business. They're entitled to call flight attendants Mexicans and tell them to go back to Mexico. They're entitled. And all they're being is terminally stupid. Because their leader is terminally demented and stupid. It's sad. It is very, 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 very sad. All right. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. I hope you have a good Tuesday afternoon on this St. Patrick's Day. Go get you some Guinness or some cider or, something non-alcoholic. I think I'm going to get the recipes for box teas. Do you know what a box tea is? It's like an Irish potato pancake. I'm going to find the recipe for a box tea and I'm going to make a box tea. No Butcher used to have corned beef and cabbage vegan on St. Patrick's Day. No Butcher closed. Really upset me. So now there's no vegan restaurant in town doing corned beef and cabbage. I have not checked Crossroads. They might do it. But I sure do miss No Butcher doing it. I want the corned beef and the cabbage. Wait, don't they have a Henderson location? Maybe I'll drive over there. Because I love vegan corned beef. I love it. But a box tea it's made with mashed potato, shredded potato. It's made with like potato prepared in 3 different ways. And then, do I have time to look up a box tea recipe? Box tea recipe. Let's see. It's with a Y. Boxty. Let's see. Best boxty. How to make the best homemade Irish boxty. Let's see. They take eggs, by the way, but you can substitute that. Potatoes, flour, baking soda, plant milk, plant buttermilk, and vegetable oil and plant-based butter. So that's how you make a boxty. It's potatoes and flour, and then you bind it together with plant-based buttermilk, which you make by 1 cup of soy milk and 2 tablespoons of vinegar. And then 6 tablespoons of unsalted plant-based butter, 6 tablespoons of vegetable oil, a teaspoon of baking soda, pepper, cup of flour, salt, and 2 large potatoes, about 1 pound. And that makes you a boxty. A pound of potatoes, 2 teaspoons salt, 1 cup of flour, a teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of pepper, 3/4 cup plant-based buttermilk, 6 teaspoons of plant-based butter, and 6 teaspoons of vegetable oil. Yeah. Then you got yourself a boxty. I'm going to do that. You have to fry them up. That's what the oil's for. You got to fry them up, honey. I don't think you could use an air fryer. Maybe. Maybe I'll make a video of this. Yeah, I think I will. I'll make a video of me trying to make a boxty, a vegan boxty. Why not? I mean, it's St. Patrick's Day. And you serve it with gravy. It's sort of like a potato pancake, but it's an Irish potato pancake, and you make a gravy. And you can serve it with other things too. They serve them with all kinds of things over in Ireland. They cover them with meats. They cover them with veggies. They cover them with just gravy. They're delicious. I love boxties. I've had so many in Ireland. I will make one today. That'll be what I do this afternoon. I'll make a boxty. I'll videotape it and teach you guys how. So on Thursday's show, we'll make boxties. How about that? All right, I am Karel. Be who you want to be, so I'll not hurt anybody. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday. Laundry day, oh joy. Never forget to add joy to your recipe. Well, that's very true. You should have, I'm very happy in the kitchen. I love being in the kitchen. I love cooking and I love being in the kitchen. I love my gadgets in the kitchen. I love my teapots. What do you love about your kitchen? I love so much about my kitchen. I love my gadgets. I love my teapots. There's still gadgets I want, by the way. I want a home flour mill. They're $500. But I want to start grinding my own flour and my own oat flour and my own spices. And you're like, why, Karel? Just buy Bob's, red mill flour. I know. But a big 25-pound bag of wheat berries is not that expensive. And then you just throw that in the grinder and you've got flour. Homemade. Not at some plant somewhere. So I really want a flour grinder. They're $500. I won't be getting one. My Vitamix has a grain attachment for $160, but I'm told it's not very good. I want a home stone, not metal. I want a home stone grinder for flour. And I found 5 of them. They're $500. But that's one of the things I want in my kitchen. I love my gadgets. What do you love? What do you love in your... I love my Zojirishi hot water thing. I love my Breville tea maker. I love my crock pot. I love my pressure cooker. I love my Brava oven. Oh, I love that. What do y'all love in your kitchen? Tell me down below. Truly. Makes cooking a joy. My KitchenAid stand mixer. My Vitamix. Love them. I want to go use them. Go make lunch. See you tomorrow. Bye. Of course I remember Graham Kerr, the Galloping Gourmet.
It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service. You're listening to the Karel Cast. Driving you home or driving you crazy. It's broadcasting from a completely different point of view. Yours. Listen daily to the Karel Cast on your favorite streaming service.